allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I have one public comment. Nora G. Martinez, 110 Lone Star Road on Alexander Memorial Library. If you can pass this to Marita. Ms. Martinez. Yes.
Good morning. I'm going to be Alexander Memorial Library, and I'm here to request some help from the county in getting our landscape back up to par. We need manpower to help us break. Commissioner gave us some dirt, so just to kind of fill up the front and make it look more presentable. We don't have the funds for maintenance, so we rely on the county who does our landscaping, both here and in Savannah, but I'm asking for Alexander from the library. We could have some assistance in raking up our front yard and helping us spread out a bit of that dirt and get it back to park at this particular moment. And also if we could, some flags for the Salle library.
I know because you're a nonprofit, that the commissioners can assist. When you ask to put public comment, we can't make any decision here other than hear you out. We can bring it back and put a special line item to offer the landscaping and, from the building, maintenance, if that's the case, or the commissioners want to pick that up themselves, or if they want to pay to do something else, that's fine. And like I said, we've been very supportive of the library as well.
Yes, and we appreciate all of that. Our whole maintenance has been out there with the light, changing the light.
And I know you're very involved with the library, but have you had any outreach? Has any of the oil companies or any of the companies doing business
I have.
try to participate?
Yes. I actually have, because, as a retired teacher, so I know organizations at school, the kids usually help. And so I have contacted members at school, organizations to see if they could come and help, because we usually get points or whatever for their year and NHS and so forth. So yes, there has been outreach with the 4-H club as well, and oil companies, and it's just, right now we've been doing well. But yes, I have, but it's not. I've also contacted the city as well to see if it could just go rake up. Right now at this point, it's just, having people to rake it up, and we continue with the rest. But yes, I have, but it's not been, we have not been very successful.
No, I just wondered if anybody else been participating.
Yes, I'm going all around there trying to use up all the resources that I have, but we've not been successful.
Instead of waiting longer, is there any way we can just pick a date and get all of us get together, help her out, or do we have to go through?
I mean, we can't make a decision right now. I mean, we can call another meeting, but they're not-profit. That means they can
ask for help.
we can help them at any time.
Yeah.
Any of the commissioners. I can set a meeting for the 19th, so no, it'd be the 25th of April, to see if we can get some dedicated help. Assigning Robert, and just assign Robert for that.
The park.
Yeah. Because they're here. Like if they help them watering, well, you know what? The local guys are here. They can turn on the water sprinklers, but For the road and bridge, it's hard because
Well, in the,
you're out there, you know, you're out there.
well, is that the case? I mean, the park would help.
We've been pretty good, and I know that Robert sends the guys out there to cut the grass and trim it, so that's been good. We do as much as we can ourselves. This is just a little bit over with the raking, but that's really the biggest thing right now.
But what's happened is that it's been so dry
Yes,
that it's probably gonna need sod. It's probably gonna need replacement grass
A big
to
red.
brought in and be put in because it's been so dry. Otherwise, they can water and rake it, but it's all dirt right now. It's so dry everywhere.
yes.
But the way that thing's built over there, if you add it to the grass, then the building's gonna be lower. So there's no way you're
Yes.
gonna add to it. I mean, I go out there most of the time,
No, ito naman sa relative.
But
the roots are sticking out the tree. So, I mean,
And right now, we're not asking all of that because we have seen that in the drainages, you know, back there and whatever we did years ago. And we can do the upkeep for right now. It's just a raking and we'll continue watering just to get some type of grass out there, get some seeds out there for right now. Because it is, whenever they did that job, the dirt is way over
the building,
the sidewalk.
The sidewalk.
So when it rains a lot and there's a lot, all the dirt goes on top of the sidewalk. So for right now, it's just to get it to look nice. It's no major,
So, I'll talk-
It's just a manpower to help us rake.
I'll talk to Robert, and if it's not taken care of by the 25th, then we'll put it on the agenda.
Okay, we appreciate that. And of course, flags, if we could just get flags for instance, out on we're up and going, and so we're trying to have more activities, and our numbers are going up as well. So we're doing our part to advertise and make sure that we have functions, so that people are aware that we're up and going, and so far it's a lot better than what we had.
Yeah, I didn't see the invitation until after you had your ceremony.
I'm sorry?
I didn't see the invitation until after you had the ceremony.
So it's,
The email.
it was an open house, we had a good number. for-
Yeah, but I didn't see the invitation until after you had already had your ceremony and I saw the invitation.
Yo
It was a
también.
good open house, just so people go out there and see. So we're trying to get them out there and stuff, so we're getting good response. And the schools,
And the only reason I'm saying is since the county built it, you would think that the county would have had a better, more formal invitation, and we didn't. That's what I'm getting at, that we didn't get it till
Well-
after it happened. So it's like,
yes.
you know,
Yeah, it was just an open house, it wasn't a big ceremony, we just had, refreshments.
yeah, regardless, that was, you know,
Okay.
that was heard and felt.
Okay. Well, we appreciate everything, and we are working with some so there, the principal, Ms. Lisa's been very good also in, having her children with students go out there to apply for this one.
Nora, I think last time you mentioned y'all got another bench. Did you ever get that bench?
We had another bench, when Patsy was out at the city, we had another bench that was supposed to be used for whatever,
Ricardo,
business year, and so she was not gonna use it.
Oh, sorry.
Did y'all get it?
We never got it.
Where's it at?
I don't. Patsy had informed us that we were going to get the bench, we just never got it. So we're still waiting.
Okay, I just remember that.
We get, but we were supposed to get another bench.
okay, come on, come on.
Start the Zoom meeting, right? Then you can, I see what has to go. Give me just a minute.
Okay. Well, thank you, and then we'll let you know, and we'll talk to you. That way, if by the 25th it's not taken care of, we'll work on it.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Is Dora here?
Martinez? No.
No, Dora was
She's out
She's
of
Dora, yeah.
She's out of town.
Huh?
She's out of town. Doctor. I went over there for some license plates.
Because she has a presentation to us that she's kept, and she has it. And it's, discussion possible action on verbiage for ad valorem statement and other services. And that's gonna be for next year. And the system would allow her to contract the billing instead of her doing the billing. She would contract someone else to do the billing. And it's like $37,000, but she has a copy of the contract. I mean, I could put it back for the 25th and table it, that way she can present it.
Yes.
But
7.
But that's gonna be a problem, that she has someone that sends the billing, they mail it, they work with her system, and it makes it much easier for her. I'm not against it, it's a good service, it's the same thing that the appraisal district is using. So, we can table it and then do it on the 25th in the morning.
All right, I'll make the motion to table.
Second.
I'm trying to admit. Are you here? Carl, come over here. Is Carlos there?
Yeah, but upside down.
There we go. Well, we got a couple items, Carlos. One is number 6, discussion and or possible status on cemeteries, including expansion on Cotula Cemetery, Cristo Rey. We talked about the Ensenada, but we haven't done anything. And related survey of property and property to be acquired, including condemnation. And, when we covered Cristo Rey, you had the lawsuit, and then we covered acquiring some of the property from El Brujo to expand it, because there's no more room for cemeteries. And in Cristo Rey, everybody's grabbing property even though they're not paying for it. And then Cameron Bell also said that they wanted the county to take it over, so they don't have any more property to sell as well. So it comes up to what do the Commissioners Court want to do? We can take over the Cotula Cemetery.
Do we have that property now next to it?
We got some, it's a survey. Oh. But this is, they're designing the JP1, here's the elderly, here's the dialysis, and then back over here, you have all this property that you can do for cemeteries. And Jorge, have you had any survey of that property?
Aquí está el property.
Es el diálisis. Introduciendo y nueva.
Ah, bueno.
Morning, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, welcome. Referencing the cemetery survey Mr. Chauncey asked us to look at, we did prepare a draft survey. We sent it to him for review. I know we have a meeting pending with him to go over it. But it is over here by the Crockett FM 468 area. It's not finalized, just want to make sure that we're all set before we sign it.
Can we see that?
Yeah, of course. We have 2 copies.
And this is Cotula Cemetery?
Yes, sir. It's over here at 468 in Crockett area, but
Okay. They're already using that over here, this is the,
Al Hawaii.
this is the one
No, what?
that borders, 468 goes to Dairy Queen. You know, we're talking about, what about the eastern side of the cemetery?
so that is showing the one next to that property. We do have it's block 16, I believe. It is showing on there.
Yes.
Because, I mean, they're already buried people there, so I'm assuming they acquired it already.
Right, there's a reference, volume S3, page 481, Cthulhu Cemetery Association, Inc.
So they purchased it already?
Yes, there's documents that show that. This survey is for the area where the right of way was for the extension of Crockett and Leonardo and all those.
That was that little piece that we're gonna take that belongs to Mr. Contreras. No, it belongs to Contreras. That's the little part there. And we're gonna exchange it for that little block.
But they're already using it, and it looks like they already bought it, or they didn't buy it.
No, there's a little road through there, and there you see what belongs to the cemetery. And from that road,
Okay.
east of there, towards the 469, 468, that belongs to Mr. Contreras.
So there's a deed reference for Oleander Block 8, 7, 8, and 9. We have a copy of the deed. There's a small piece that's within that survey that you see there that's not, it was not conveyed to.
It belongs to the other side, right?
It belongs to the city. If you look at it, the way it was conveyed to the city. Considerados don't own to the east of 468. There's a little piece that was in dispute, I guess. That's not, it was never conveyed to them.
Oh, okay.
It's very clear on that, and I brought a copy of the deed for reference where it says save and accept. That tractor was given to the city.
But then we decided to leave it alone because I don't know what happened. And that's where we bought that other place by there by the nutrition center. And we got a lot of land over there next to remember there's there used to be like a little RV parking out there next to the dialysis?
That whole block.
Yeah, that whole block right there. I thought-
So right now, we've only been asked to do this one here, that you see there in front of you. We want us to represent the one on the east side, we can, it is represented.
So,
Esta es la que ya era.
yeah, this is right across Gilbert Ayala. Right, Gilbert Ayala.
But this is Ernest's property now.
What?
Is this Ernest's property? In Soya?
Well, they were saying it was, but he's saying it's not his property anymore.
Aquí sí hay ahí, pero aquí es que este camino, este pedito que está aquí, donde está el 2, va junto con la casa esta, donde vive María Contreras. Se va a echar ahora. Pues le iban a cambiar ese por este. Este bloque está aquí, dije que en el City, digan, no va a cambiar ahí, que él vive aquí. Pero siempre nos hizo ese pedito es de él.
So if we look at so we kind of look at the property over here, and here's the cemetery. Here's the cemetery. And you turn here, here's Ayala, here's the school. So there's a tract of land right here that would be used for the cemetery.
Where's the dialysis on the right?
The dialysis is over
Oh, so
here.
it's between the dialysis.
Yeah, the dialysis is over here, nutrition over here. So it's over it.
Little piece.
Yeah. So it could kind of be blocked off, for expansion. But the problem with that, George, on the expansion, you said you've done some cemeteries. When you survey it, you go ahead and survey the plots ahead of time. So you survey the plots and you figure out how they come in, how they come out. This one has 2, this one has 5, this one has 10. That way people can start buying them and they're already identified. Because in Cristo Rey, everybody's just going and fencing and not measuring. So if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna survey it, go ahead and survey it for a cemetery.
Lay it out and actually.
I mean, what do you think, Mike or Carlos? Kind of show you.
We can add on.
Where's the, you took it?
The big one?
Just
eastern part of the cemetery has this county land right here, and it starts right here. Can you see? And to get that property surveyed, you know, it'd be best to survey and go ahead and order Jorge to develop the size of the plots for future growth. So he'll be able to tell us, you know, we can get 100 plots out of here or 200 plots and identify them, you know, to where they can be purchased already. You know,
No. So, Judge, my suggestion is that you identify plots by owner and then have those surveyed.
okay,
And then,
but this land here, the county is the owner.
oh, okay,
The county is the owner.
okay.
So it may be about 2.5 acres.
Okay,
It'd be about 2.5 acres.
all right. Well, my thought is you don't want to keep doing this, so I agree with you. Figure out how many grave sites you can get in 2.5 acres and decide whether you need more land.
Because if it's not done here and there's future development, then that cemetery is done for. There's no more growth in there other than what the people have already purchased.
Yeah.
You know, the expansion is over. So this is gonna be the last chance that they're gonna have to expand it.
So, as a result, I would suggest that we look at the county land and then look at any other land near there that may be appropriate for coming expansion. And we need to get each of them, surveyed. Now, the county land, if the county's gonna convey it for that purpose, we just need that, the meets and bounds description as a commitment of what property we're giving them for future expansion. But with all of these properties, all of the different cemeteries, we have to figure out what land we're talking about, get it surveyed, and then get it appraised, unless the county is the landowner.
What's happening with the cemetery association is that they don't want to manage it anymore. So they want to give it up, and it forces the county to take it over.
And I'm surprised because they charge.
Yeah.
We pay.
But there's no more land, so they have nothing to charge.
No, they charge me to maintain it.
They charge you to maintain it.
It's a donation.
They charge $100 a year.
$100 a year.
So we may want to get Cameron in there for that part. We can bring him in for that part, but as far as for the expansion, you know,
Before they pay for next year, you need to bring them in. That way, county can collect the money, not him.
because that's gonna be the same thing for Ensenada. You don't have nobody to collect the money. You still have $34,000 in the bank somewhere that nobody can get, which you still have to do a lawsuit, and you still got the expansion. The same thing with Cristo Rey. We still gotta expand it as well, but if we're gonna expand it, you need to develop
Just create the map.
We need to-
The plots, how they're gonna be, see how many we can get.
because the city said that we're gonna have water by the spring, and we don't have water.
Not yet. And,
Because they kept, what, 3 acres?
and we need to find out when they're gonna, what's gonna happen with the cemetery. If we're gonna keep running it or,
Well, the Cristo Rey now becomes, we need to have that meeting and put someone in charge. It's not gonna be my problem next year,
because
but
when Reyes
but we've
passed.
already spent so much time in identifying it, and might as well get the plots done since you got the work in there.
Yeah.
Now, El Brujo said he'd sell. He said he'd sell. So, and then you hear Fred said he didn't want to get condemned in Ensenada.
They don't want condemnation.
Yeah,
You're willing to donate around 20.
so, I mean, let's go ahead and clear that up. Because then otherwise, all this time and money that we've done is gone to waste, and then you're not gonna have any place to bury people.
And Judge, let me just jump in also on Cristo Rey. We're waiting for a couple things. There were a couple things that still need to be hammered out with the final judgment. Mr. Arguero's death set this back a little bit, obviously, as well as some COVID issues. But more importantly, Commissioner Ayala and yourself are two of the 5 members on the interlocal commission. And so I don't know if that commission is met, but that's supposed to be the governing subcommittee or whatever you want to call it. It's supposed to be getting things moving. The way we have the final judgment drafted, it incorporates the mediated settlement agreement that the Commissioners Court has already approved. And would also require within 18 months of the final judgment that hasn't happened yet, that the Cristo Rey Cemetery be surveyed and establish a registry for inventory of new burials. That doesn't address the issue of condemnation, which I think is the biggest issue and the most important issue. I mean, I've been listening to you that there's just a shortage of land for future growth. But with regards to the operation and management and process on the Cristo Rey front, that's where we're at. I think that the interlocal commission can get some of this stuff going, and then also I'll get with Keith Franklin and the city about getting a final judgment entered soon. I know the last thing I had to do when Mr. Arguero died, as part of the settlement agreement, he got the tractor. The city was wanting to have some access to it, and those two were having a discussion about it. I don't know what's going to end up happening. But to me, that and the issue of the exact amount of acreage that's being conveyed to the county were the outstanding items. I think I've gotten clear instruction, I think from you, that issue is resolved now. We'll take whatever's out there and we'll focus efforts on expansion. But other than that, I think that was ready to be wrapped up, that part of it.
Because what the city was that they were saying they were keeping 2.5 acres. And instead of fighting them, we said, we'll help pay for this land in lieu, and it washes out. So they were good with that. So we need to,
And like you said, it's supposed to provide water out there beginning, I think, this month.
but we need to follow up with that. So one is, we gotta bring the Brujo to the table. We need to bring him in to talk to him. And then you gotta get your survey
Is he over here?
done. Yes, you gotta get your survey done.
How many acres is it gonna be on his more or less?
I mean, how many people can you put on, 1 acre? How many can you put at 2 acres? That way they know. So do a design on 1 acre or 2 acres and show it to us. That way they know how it's gonna be.
The whole cemetery is like 3 acres.
Well, see, Cristo Rey had 10 acres, but the city has 2 or 3 acres of it. So it's only about 7 now.
I'm back at the Cristo Rey towards the city. Whose property is that?
The city?
Green?
It's green.
Green is up front.
Yeah, but north from the cemetery. That's where the
That's
city's got that.
Yeah. But see that land, they had so much dump and they buried so much stuff that it can't be used for anything because it has a lot of methane in it.
No, he's talking about next to the cemetery.
Okay,
North of the cemetery, in between the cemetery and the city and the dump deal, there's another, 2 or 3 acres there?
Maybe 5.
5? I mean, I don't know who they belong to.
Those are the 10 acres we're talking about.
okay.
We have like 5 the cemetery and then the other 5.
Behind the mobile. Behind the mobile home atrás.
They got some rooms for expansion
Oh, yeah.
there, but people have been getting as
La
well.
bolsita que se enfrenta en la corner. That's the place we need to get.
And then we're gonna have to put someone in to go collect with the other people and stuff,
Committee.
assign something.
And then the ones that were buried 100 years ago, okay.
See, Reyes Abuelo has all those records, and
Okay.
this is y era de Mr. Quintanilla, de Erasmo Quintanilla también.
Yeah.
So he has all those records of the last people that bought, and after that, everybody else owes.
Add on.
Everybody owes, so they kept records of those. And, Norme also did a study that's online on LaSalle Historical. That pretty much where her study ends, those were the last people that purchased. So there might be a couple people that might not pay, but most of them,
Hay muchos nuevos.
huh?
There's a lot of new people.
There's a lot of people. Carlos, Mike, what do you need from us today?
Well, what we need is, so the Commissioner's Court has previously entered orders saying that it wanted to expand Whisper Ray, it wanted to expand Tula, and it wanted to expand Encinal. That y'all have previously had orders saying you wanted to try to acquire land to do that. And so the big thing is to figure out which ones we really do want to start the process on by identifying and providing Jorge with identifying the land we are thinking about acquiring so that he can get us a survey. And for land that's not owned by the county, then we'll need to also get an appraisal. And we don't need the appraisal. I mean, if the landowners are willing to sell, we can approach them about selling.
The landowner is willing to sell. You may still need an appraisal, but still the landowner, and I think one of them was willing to sell or donate it in Senado, he might change his mind. You know, they do, it's been a while.
We can,
We're
meet
not
with
just
it.
talking about donations, so we're just gonna move forward as that is before it changes, in the future.
So in the one action, we would file a motion to allow Jorge Martinez to survey, plat, and design the land owned by the county east of the cemetery along Baylor Road, and come back to the commissioner court with survey and design. And we're not voting to do it yet, let's see the design.
Yeah.
Then for the survey in Cristo Rey, for him to survey the property to be purchased, and if need be, authorize a, what do you call, estimate or appraisal of the property. And for Ensenada, to authorize Commissioner Alba and Jorge to discuss with the owner and identify acreage for expansion, for purchase or lease, and to authorize a survey if the owner agrees. That way you don't have to come back.
Yes.
So vas con él, con Jorge, y se dice, si quiero, está bueno, we're gonna get a survey, so ya you don't have to come back to us. Back and forth
Yeah.
to survey.
That'll work.
And that'd be, you negotiate with that.
Yes.
And then Judge, the only other thing I would ask,
But don't you think their work,
With
have
regards to the
something on
lawsuit.
paper?
Yeah, well, if they say yes,
Have something on paper? You know,
I
you
would
start
ask that
surveying,
you
you can come
authorize
back
me
to
to go ahead and agree to sign.
well,
off on
they,
the final
they gotta give
plan.
permission for they gotta give a right of access, right? Oh. Yes, sir. We'll go back to
Sorry
Carlos.
about that, Judge. No, with regards to the lawsuit, I was gonna say, I would like y'all to authorize me to go ahead and sign off on the final judgment, which incorporates the terms of the mediated settlement agreement, that Yuna is nominated as the person on the local, that the tractor stays with Abuelo and agreeing to, you know, the responsibility the city has for bringing water and the other things under that agreement, but also taking less than 10 acres in exchange for that. So with those being the modifications that are left, I think, I would ask for that so we can get that final judgment entered.
So,
And happy to answer any questions or do any
So-
discussion.
so we authorize the settlement of a lawsuit allowing UNIT to enter as one of the members of the committee, that the tractor remain with, yeah, UNIT, Mr. Abuelo's gone, and
The city already bought 2 new ones.
And then, agree that the city's gonna be bringing in water and, assisting us in the, purchase of additional land.
Right, and
For-
just
for-
to clarify,
for keeping that property.
the settlement agreement that the commission adopted, this is just some of the outstanding items on the final judgment, which will incorporate and defer to the mediated agreement to the extent there's any difference.
And we had agreed to budget $25,000 as well per year, and I think we did it this year.
Yeah, the city's supposed to match 50/50 with the county on budgeting.
Okay, so we need to make sure they do that as well. So it's a long item. I can break it up into, you know, different ones, Catula, and do different motions, or we can do it all together in one motion.
I don't know that you need to break it up into different motions, Judge.
Okay, all in one. So the motion would be to authorize the survey, plat, and design of the land, the Catula Cemetery along Baylor that borders Catula Cemetery Street. And to survey the property to be added to Cristo Rey, and authorize the appraisal of the property, which will include making sure you get right of access documentation or approval from the landowners, and to authorize Commissioner Alba to make contact with landowners with the assistance of Jorge to identify property to be either purchased or donated, and if there is an agreement, then authorize the survey of the property for Ensenada, and authorize Carlos Sotero to settle the remaining Cristo Rey pending items in reference to the lawsuit with Catula, City of Catula, and Mr. Abuelo. Mr. Abuelo Estate now.
Yeah.
And that would,
the heirs, whatever.
and that would have to be in the form of a motion.
I'll make that motion.
So is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. So I'm gonna jump to number 8, and we're in the executive session. So we'll have to ask,
Inshallah.
huh? We'll have to ask, I think we'll do both items. Number 8, number 9. We'll have to ask, people to step out right away, and I'll call you right back. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into this session. 10:42 a.m.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Break.